Hey, good morning, Facebook family and YouTube subscribers. Let's see. Today is September 17th. This month is flying by. This is part two. I got a couple of part twos I need to do today, but if I can get them done. I'm going to be honest with you guys. These videos are very tough to do because you're taking me back to an era of my life that I'll be very honest with you, I'm embarrassed about. Ashamed. It's tough to discuss this stuff because sometimes you want some things in life you want to put behind you and forget about it. So now I have to bring back up all these memories from literally over 20 years ago. These stories come from 1989 and 1990. People have lived entire lives in that time period. So I'm going back to stuff I had long hidden in the closet. So we're going to dig this mess out of this closet. We're going to expose these skeletons, and we're going to. And I'm hoping. My hope with these videos is that younger people, will look at this and say, "I don't want to make the same mistakes Walter made," because I really don't want anyone to walk down the path that I made in my late teens, early 20s. It wasn't an easy path, and at that time, my mind was not in the right space. I'm much more mature as a 43-year-old man. I would never, God, I would hope not. I know for a fact that those things that I did in my early 20s, I just cannot see doing today. The risks that involved are just too tremendous, and the reward is just not that great. So when we last left off, there were a couple of issues going on in my life. Sheldon and Alonzo were now using me as an advisor, and they were picking me up from work at the Remodel Renaissance when I got off from work. So in between me going from the Remodel Renaissance and going to Taco Bell, I would spend a part of my day with Sheldon and Alonzo, and we would go out and take care of some stunts. I'm not going to go into the exact details of what we're doing because I really don't want anyone to do or even copy or attempt to do that mess because it still can be done today, but I don't recommend it for anyone under any reason, under any circumstances. So with that said, let's continue. So Sheldon and Alonzo would pick me up. And of course, I'm riding the car, and they're paying me. You know, I'm working 2 jobs, Taco Bell, Remodel Renaissance through the daytime, Taco Bell in the evening time. Sometimes it would switch. I can't remember. It was 20 years ago. Shit, I'm old. But I noticed Sheldon and Alonzo were making a ton of money under my guidance. They were making a killing, and they were breaking me off a little bit of something. You know, I was getting clothes, shoes, stuff. I can keep my paycheck and pay my little car note insurance. And I was getting clothes and shoes and stuff. And at one point, I started getting stuff for my younger sisters who were in high school. So I was buying them Air Jordans and, you know, the stuff everybody wanted back then and still want today who are in high school. So I was getting my sister and them some expensive clothing and shoes from various stores. And my mother didn't like this. She noticed what was going on. She saw them sneaking the shoes and clothes into the house. So she would see them wearing them like, where'd those shoes come from? Did Walter give you that? And my mother, I don't know how she did this, but she got Sheldon's phone number. Now, I'll never forget it was a Sunday because Sheldon always had these cookouts at his house. It was a Sunday. We were out shopping, going to the grocery store. We didn't have no cell phones back then. Then in the late 80s, early 90s, there were no cell phones for poor folks. And we were definitely one of the poor people. So we did not have cell phones. So somehow or another, I don't know how, my mother got Sheldon's phone number. And she called over there and she threatened Sheldon. And she told Sheldon that if I didn't come home that day immediately, she was going to send the police over there and arrest everybody. So, of course, I wasn't there when all this was going on. And Sheldon took this threat very seriously Because when I got there, Sheldon had all my little stuff packed up because I was kind of staying with them back and forth. Because I was still staying with my mother, but I had spent the past week or two at their place camping out. Sheldon had all my little stuff packed by the door and told me to get the hell out of there and to go home and never come back. He said, go home, go to your mother. She just called. And I remember panicking, thinking, oh my God. And so I ended up racing around 285 in my little Chevy to get to the house to see what was it that my mother was so upset about so we can try to resolve some of these issues. Now, and looking back, if I had known what I know today, trust me, that would have been my last trip around 285. I would have got to my mother's house and that would have been the end of that. But unfortunately, I was still, this is 1989, summer of 89. I was 19 years old at that point, and I thought I knew everything. I thought I knew it all. And I was determined to go down this path of recklessness and crime. So, hey, can't do nothing about it now, but I got over to my mother's house. She was there. She was upset, and she had company. My mother was working at Southern Regional, what was called Clayton General Hospital at that point. And she had some friends from the hospital, some nurses and doctors, who were going to do this intervention. And I had to sit there. They wanted me to go to college, go back to work. I'm still working. I told Mom I'm still working my jobs. I had to move back home. She wanted to watch me. She wanted to monitor my car. This is my car I was paying for. So I agreed to this stuff because Sheldon had literally kicked me out of his house. I really didn't have no place to go. So it was either the homeless shelter, I deal with my mother. So I agreed to this stuff because Sheldon couldn't go back over there until I got this issue resolved. So I came up with a little game plan. I'm going to sneak and do what I need to do during the daytime and come home at night and act like everything's okay. Why did I do that? Because, first off, my mother was not that stupid. My mother was, she was trying, I like any parent. Because I can imagine if I was a father today, let me tell you something. My children would be like, Walt, Daddy crazy, because he is crazy. Because Daddy didn't been through it. So I would be like on top of a whole bunch of stuff. And my mother was just very aggressive. She still is today. Nothing's changed about that. Well, we'll talk about that on another video. So here I was back at the house with Mama. And I'm going to work. She's coming up to see me at work. I'm there at work. She would pop up there. I'm like, Mom, I'm at work. So she would come up to the job and she would come around there to the Ramada Renaissance. But what she didn't know is that when I was off from work, she didn't really know my hours. I had scheduled a bunch of hours in the middle of the day where, once again, Sheldon and Alonzo, I couldn't come to their place, but they would come to me since I was banned from coming over there. So they was just so worried about my mother. I was in my car at work. Sheldon and Alonzo picked me up. Sheldon, Alonzo, and at this point, Robert, my good friend Robert, we became best friends. And we would ride out and do what we needed to do. It didn't take us long to do what we needed to do. And then they would hurry up and get me back because they knew my mother was watching like a hawk. So I needed to hurry up. Y'all have to remember, I'm 19 years of age. I don't think Sheldon remember no more than 21, 22, 23. And I'm guessing they probably weren't even that older. So if I was 19, I really don't know how much older than Sheldon. Sheldon couldn't have been no more than 21, 22. But in my eyes, of course, he seemed much older and mature. But he had to be very similar, close to my age. So this went on for a little while until I had accumulated enough cash to get my own place and get my own apartment. So me and Sheldon me and Robert came up with the idea we're going to get our own apartment downtown Atlanta so I can move out my mom's house. If I could just go back in time. Y'all just don't know. I would literally walk up to myself and go back in time and punch the shit out my damn ass and start just choking Walter with my own two hands. You dumb bastard, get your ass away from Robert and them. But we came up with this game plan, and me and Robert were going to become roommates. We had saved up the money. Robert was working on his little job. We were doing our stunts. At this point, I still wasn't writing checks, but I was riding along with them. And Robert had got him the idea of writing checks. For some reason, they didn't want me to write checks. They wanted me to just kind of supervise and alter the information and that type of stuff. But of course, it was going to get to a point where I was literally at the point where I wanted to do my own thing because I wanted my own money, my own stuff. I want to be in control of my own destiny, like everyone at 19 years of age who thinks they know it all. So, me and Robert got an apartment. And I furnished it, got furniture and everything. And the day came for me to move out my mother's place with Robert to his apartment. So Robert comes over there with his car, and I had some, my clothes and stuff like that in my little bedroom. And this was the day we were going to tell Mama I had my own place. Mama was thinking I was on my way back either to Georgia State University or Morehouse. I had got all this paperwork together, but that was not what I was planning. So we decided we'd wait until Mama was at work, and I would move my stuff out. Since I was a grown man, like Robert said, you grown, you do what you want to do. And I was grown, I was 19 years of age. A grown-ass fool is what I would say. But anyway, we packed all my stuff up, loaded it up, and moved to Robert's new apartment downtown Atlanta. Beautiful apartment overlooking downtown. Back then, there was a lot of older apartment complexes that they didn't have all the new stuff they have in Atlanta now. So we moved into a place called Overlook Atlanta, which was right off of Parkway and Freedom Parkway. And there was an older apartment complex, all these gay folks. I was so excited because there was all these black gay folks there, and they were always having cookouts and parties and stuff, and there was all these cute guys there. And I'm like, oh my God, this is heaven. The club was right around the corner. I wasn't too far from my jobs, and so I was thinking, okay, so I can keep going to working at Taco Bell, Ramada Renaissance. And y'all know that wasn't going to last too much longer. Because when me and Robert got into that apartment, Robert started having cookouts and parties we couldn't even get into the apartment before we were having cookouts and parties. Literally, the day we moved in there, it was a big old cookout and all these people over there. I was supposed to go to work. So I'm like, okay, should I go to work? I stay here at this party. Robert, why are you going to them jobs anyway? So I'm thinking, I kept those jobs as long as I could because while Alberta Hampton, my mother was coming over looking for me, and she was very upset because I had moved out of that place. But she did come to the apartment. She came and saw where I was staying at, so she knew where I was at, which was downtown. And reached the point where I was going to have to quit those jobs because it was impossible to work two jobs, party all day and night long, go to clubs, and go stunt work, and when you're getting everything for free and making all this money. So it was like, okay, these two jobs are going to have to go because they get in the way of life. So eventually, I was trying to figure out how can I quit these jobs and not have my mother knowing what I was doing, because then it's just she know really what I was doing. So somehow I think we either came up with the idea that I was going to be working for Robert's aunt's mother's, somebody's business. This was the lie we was going to say. We were working for her, and she was going to agree to say this. Robert's aunt had a little some type of business, and she agreed to tell if asked, she would say to my mother, if anyone wanted to know that we worked for her. And so, anyway, that was the lie we came up with. And guys, that summer of '89 was an amazing summer because at that point, when me and Robert got that apartment, we were partying every single night. We would go to Loretta's, and we were there every single night. Robert and Sheldon, Alonzo, Greg, we just laughed. We had so much fun. We didn't have to work. We had money. Y'all know this was going to end in disaster. It was soon to happen. So it was just a matter of time that this situation was not going to work out because a couple of reasons. Robert was still in my little boyfriends that I would meet. I would meet a guy, like the guy. Robert was still for me. So this went on a couple of times before I got upset about how I would meet a guy, bring him home with me, and they'd end up in Robert's bedroom. So I'm thinking, how is this possible? Why is this man taking the guys who are interested in me? He would take them away because they would be more interested in him. So y'all know this was going to turn into a major problem between Robert and I because I was getting angry and madder because here I was alone and single trying to meet somebody, and this man is stealing my potential dates. So it came to a point where Robert and I, he was always drinking, partying, the fighting between us, the pressure of my mother. Robert and I got into a fight, and we got into a really, really, really bad fight in the apartment one morning. And his mother and my mother, because the fight was so bad, he called his mother and I called my mother. And they both raced over to the house. And the decision was made that Robert would keep the apartment and I would move out. So I had to go where? Back home again. Because me and Robert couldn't get along because he was stealing my dates. But me and Robert remained friends, even though I know we were not roommates. We became more like, I don't know how we got through that issue. It was a major fight between he and I, and Robert's mother and my mother didn't like each other. It was just a lot of contention, and it was just a whole lot of mess. And then Mama found out I was lying about working for Robert's aunt, Doris, and there's more to this story because we just getting started. Yeah, this literally can go on for hours. But Robert and I came up with a really, really good scam. And we made a whole lot of money. Well, I'm going to talk about that. But this concludes today's video. I can only take so much of this stuff. Walking back down these lanes, memory lanes, it brings me back it opens up this can of emotions inside of me. You know. We're going to move forward. I wish I had gone off to school and went on off to college because I had the potential. I don't know how I ended up getting so caught up in wanting some fucking Air Jordans, some damn shoes and clothes and jackets and fucking raggedy ass couch from Havity's furniture store. What were we thinking? What was I thinking? I was a kid caught up in something that I didn't even understand would have such a profound effect on my entire life. You know, I'm thinking any minute I can drop this mess and go to school. I'm smart. And you get caught up in something. That's when I look around and I watch the news and I see so many people who are caught up in stuff that they don't have no control over. And they don't realize the impact of what they're doing until it's too late. And I wouldn't understand for a long time, maybe not even 10 years, I think maybe I was much older before I really understood the impact of what I had done and where it had taken me. So, really wish it never happened. Really do. Really wish that was a path of my life that I had not done. Now, I say that at 43, but at 19 and 20 years of age, it just was not possible. Let me give y'all a little hint. Robert and I met no, I'm going to say that for the next video. You guys, I'm going to cook breakfast. I'm out of here. You guys have a great day. It's Tuesday. And there's a part 3 to this, 4, 5, and 6 maybe. I'm going to talk about it. We'll talk some more. You guys have a great day. Thank you. If you like my videos, don't forget to click like. Give me some feedback, what you think about me, Robert, Alonzo, Sheldon, and all those situations. You guys have a great day. I'm out of here. Bye.